Papa 2-2, Bossman, again.
Those might as well make a left turn and stay in Zeus until 5 points. Ready?
Okay, boss man, this is Coffee 5-2. I've got a tally on the vicinity. Request permission to lay down some 20 Mike.
Stand by.
Let's just make sure that it's not friendly, that's all.
Copy 5-1, Bossman. Hold fire. I need details on Sapphire.
Okay, I've got some men on a road, and it looks like a piece of artillery firing at us. I am rolling in self-defense. Bombs away, cranking left.
Check wide, middle view.
I'm fine. Lasers on. Shack.
On April 17, 2002, 4 Canadian soldiers die when U.S. planes bomb their training exercise in Afghanistan. Canadians are outraged. The U.S. Air Force lays charges against the pilots. At the height of the Second World War, American bombers cause one of the worst incidents of friendly fire in Canadian history. It goes largely unnoticed. 2 stories, separated by a lifetime, sharing a single point of departure.
My crew called me the chief, but we were all on a team, and we had to do the job we were assigned and to get back. That was what, 59 or 60 years ago? The reason I think I remember the incident that happened the day in question was that it struck me as being, you know, an awful thing to have been part of.
June 6, 1944, D-Day. Canadian soldiers take part in the Allied invasion of Normandy, anticipating a victory over German troops. But 2 months later, enemy forces have still not surrendered. A final big surge will be needed to liberate France. It would be called Operation Totalize.
Apparently the Canadians were held up by German troops in Caen or in the vicinity of Caen. I guess they were pinned down and they called Caen the Hinge. My squadron and parts of other squadrons were picked to go over and obliterate those German positions, or to soften them up anyway.
We're only 1,400 yards from the Germans at that time. So the sun was shining on them, and they're just sparkling, really lovely. Of course, we thought they're on our side.
Elliot Webster was a Canadian gunner, part of the forces on the ground awaiting help from Frank Farrell and the rest of the U.S. bombers.
I wasn't really seeing much other than the airplane that I was guiding on. I felt the load go, and I know that there was nothing more that we could do, so we always beat a hasty retreat.
And the bombs started tumbling down. It was bad, real bad. There was a lot of smoke coming our way, and the wheat field I was in with my gun was on fire.
Among the dead are 65 Canadians, 11 of them from Elliot's unit. 250 soldiers, including Poles, are wounded. One of the soldiers lost that day was a young man named Clifford Tamman, or Tammy to his friends, a newlywed whose young bride Irene was pregnant with their first child.
It never registered. Because they were there, you were here. It was like a dream. My parents told me before I got married, they said, you know, you shouldn't do it. Anything could happen. But you don't think when you're young anything's going to happen. It did happen.
Irene is traveling from her home in Ontario all the way to Caen, France, for Remembrance Day, retracing the steps her husband took before his death, seeking answers to questions she's had ever since.
It's going to open up a door that's been closed for nearly 60 years. Because it'll be 60 years, August the 8th, he was killed.
Elliot Webster also heads to Caen from his Ontario home. He survived the incident that killed Tammy, Irene's husband. Tammy was also Elliot Webster's best friend.
I have mixed feelings. I've been trying to forget about the casualties for the last 59 years. Some of them you can't forget, you know. I know one chap that had his head cut off. I can still see that head, you know. And some of my other close friends were hurt pretty bad. Tammy was killed too.
Although Elliot and Tammy were best friends, after the war, Elliot never contacted Irene despite living close, just 1 hour away. Today, their journeys will cross paths for the very first time.
He knew where I was and never even contacted me. That's what I'd like to wring his neck about.
I often thought about you.
They were very close. It made me wonder when I met him that he didn't have enough nerve to face me. He said, I've heard so much about you. Well, then, if he heard so much about me, whether it was good or bad, he could have told me. Yeah. My feeling was with the boys, they were that close. They didn't want to face me. I guess they figured I would ask a lot of questions. And if they didn't face me, they didn't have to answer them.
There are always unanswered questions when death occurs in the fog of war.
Papa 2-2, boss man, yeah.
Suppose we might as well make a left turn and stay in Zeus until 5-1's ready.
We arrived with a very focused mission. We were there to take on Taliban, Al-Qaeda. We were there to provide peace or security around the Kandahar airfield and work with U.S. forces there. We were training for combat. We were expecting it. We were going in to an area and going to be dealing with a belligerent foe, an enemy, that we were mandated and focused on taking out of the picture. In your own mind, you're thinking, have I done everything as a leader? Are the troops ready to go? And in your heart of hearts, you know that they are. You're as ready as you're ever going to be.
On April 17, 2002, members of Major Hackett's company are practicing nighttime live fire operations on an abandoned range called Tarnak Farms, just outside Kandahar.
Every company would try to use Tarnak Farms as a range, and all the forces in Kandahar would rotate through there. We had a pretty good dispersion of strobes flashing infrared, and that would be dispersed to all areas.
Papa 2-2, boss man, yeah.
Suppose we might as well make a left turn and stay in Zeus until 5-1's ready.
Okay, boss man, this is Coffee 5-2. I've got a tally on the vicinity. Request permission to lay down some 20 mic.
Stand by.
Let's just make sure that it's not friendly, that's all.
To me, it's incomprehensible how you could fail to know or fail to find out.
Copy 5-1, boss man. Hold fire. I need details on Sapphire.
I'm not sure where there was a communication breakdown or not. We had our measures in place, and that should have been seen as sufficient.
Okay, I've got some men on a road, and it looks like a piece of artillery firing at us. I am rolling in self-defense. Bombs away, cranking left.
I remember the flash. I remember seeing bodies sort of strewn around, the sounds of wounded men. I remember looking at it going, that's completely out of place. And in your heart knowing what it is, but not understanding why it's occurring at that particular time in that place.
When something like that happens, your mind is just searching and running so fast. You think, maybe I didn't hear right. Maybe I misunderstood. You don't even want to believe it. The Americans bombed our guys. So I thought she was making a mistake.
Your mind runs 100 miles an hour in all different directions. You just don't know what to do. You're shocked, you're surprised, you're mad, because now he's in another world. I want to see him. That's the first thing you want to do, is you want to see him.
Claire and Richard Léger's son, Sergeant Mark Léger, was one of 4 Canadian soldiers killed in the friendly fire incident at Tarnac Farms. Private Richard Green, Private Nathan Smith, and Corporal Ainsworth Dyer were the others.
I buried my son.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get all of his body.
Mm-hmm.
Most people did not know that, but I didn't get all of his body. He was shattered because the bomb dropped right on him, actually. Because when I hold him in the casket, from head down and I feel him, it's only his right side I take and recognize him.
Right.
The rest was not him.
It just wasn't there.
They just make him up.
It's just tough that you have to, like I said, keep reliving that all the time to do that, you know, and that you have to be there. And now that condition, is it because of still the shock?
Yeah, I get a breakdown, and from that, I just start shaking. I can't even write. When you hear all these things and think of it, it really hurts.
Yeah.
Because he's my first child.
I was told he was killed by concussion. He was blown to bits. And the only thing I received, they brought home a lighter. They said it could be his. Well, it could have been 100 men's. I never received one thing. His tags, no nothing. And for the longest time, I wondered if he would walk in the door.
On August 8, 1944, American pilot Frank Farrell returns to his base in England after a bombing run over France in which 65 Canadians were accidentally killed.
There wasn't an awful lot of talk about it. I mean, we had to worry about the next day or the following day.
Within a few days, the reconnaissance photos come back. Farrell realizes that the run had missed its target.
They were to fire a smoke shell into the German positions. And my squadron were picked to go over and drop on the smoke.
To help U.S. bomber pilots distinguish friend from enemy, colored smoke shells were used. Ground troops would fire a purple smoke shell over enemy positions to mark them for bombing. They would fire a yellow smoke shell straight up to identify themselves as friendlies.
I saw a yellow go up that stopped them. Let them know that it's friends, you know, that were Allied troops. That didn't help. That didn't seem, they didn't care about the yellow smoke. They just thought that we're the enemy, and that was it.
"60 years later, Frank Farrell, Elliot Webster, and Irene Tamman, pilot, survivor, and widow, each on their way back to Caen, meet together for the first time.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Fine.
Good. Nice to meet you.
I hear you're the pilot.
Yes. One of the unfortunate ones.
Yeah, that's kind of rough at the time. It all looks so nice, you know, nice and shiny. And
Well, we just took our orders.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. Hey, that was it. I was busy flying the airplane,
Yes, that's right.
and I didn't actually see the bombs hit. All I saw was the picture of the bombs hitting.
when we got hit by you fellows, it kind of slowed things down. We lost 29, 11 killed, 18.
Yeah, I know.
But a mess.
I never decided where we ever went. I never decided, you know, what kind of a load we carried. I didn't pick my position in the formation. I just did what I was told.
Tomorrow is Remembrance Day. This morning, Elliot, Irene, and Frank continue from London together on their journey back in time to the scene of an accident that changed all their lives forever. They cross the same English Channel the two men once took nearly a lifetime ago. Elliot Webster by landing craft, Frank Farrell in his B-17, their lives intersecting in a way neither could have expected.
I've crossed this channel many times, but never this way.
In the summer of 1944, as Elliot and Tammy crossed the channel to confront the Germans, back in Canada, Irene gave birth to her and Tammy's first child.
I went into labor. I called a taxi, went over to the hospital, and had my daughter. And I think within a week, I got a cable back congratulating me. Because he was crazy about kids. All he ever talked about was coming home. This country has one swell climate. For the last few days warm, and it never stops raining. I am fine, not getting much sleep, and can't eat for the smell of corpses and the noise of guns. It's awful, but I guess we are winning, I hope. That was the last letter I received.
2 weeks later, Irene's husband was dead. Frank Farrell and other U.S. pilots dropped their bombs short of their German targets, landing instead among Canadian troops.
We knew within a week or two, because it dribbled back, came back. Maybe it was longer, but I knew the Americans had bombed. In those days, it was war. The word friendly never, ever came in. It happened. What could you do?
Almost 60 years later, the deaths of the 4 Canadian soldiers in Afghanistan spark a national outpouring of grief and anger.
My son, he's a very nice, loving boy, and I lost him. So there's nothing they can say to let me, I feel, justify about it. There's nothing. I just need justice. And if justice done, that will be okay for me.
The two U.S. pilots, Harry Schmidt and Bill Umbach, faced charges of criminal manslaughter, a first in American military history.
Your husband is criminally charged. I mean, if you think about that, that is amazing. That someone would think that and then pursue that. It's difficult to handle that.
Springfield, Illinois, heartland of America, hometown of Majors Schmidt and Umbach.
Dad was a pilot, and there is a mystique and a pride in seeing your military people do those things, and I think he wanted to be part of it.
Before the accident, both pilots were known for their exceptional skill. As partners, Umbach was seen as the quiet, confident lead. Umbach's wingman, Harry Schmidt, was one of the most accomplished pilots in the U.S. Air Force, the only pilot ever to have attended both Navy and Air Force Top Gun schools.
Well, these guys are top-notch pilots, both of them. If you want to call them cocky, they got a right to swagger a little bit, I think. I think it's a shame that the way this has gone, that they're wrecking some fine careers.
This year's annual air show is being used to raise money for their legal defense.
You're supporting our fellow 183rd pilots. If anybody had any sense at all, they would walk free like a American veteran. I mean, my notion, there's no better person than somebody to lay down their life for our country. And they should be free, just like the airplanes they fly.
In the courtroom, the cockpit recordings are played and replayed for evidence of criminal misconduct.
I'll make a left turn and stand Zeus until 5-1's ready.
Okay, boss man, this is Coffee 5-2. I've got a tally on the vicinity. I'll request permission to lay down some 20 Mike.
Stand by.
Let's just make sure that it's not friendly, that's all.
Absolutely nobody knew anything, never heard of Tarnack Farms. It wasn't on their map. You know, it just wasn't on their map.
When you get a chance, put her on the spy. You got a good hack on it.
Copy 5-1, boss man, hold fire. I need details on Sapphire.
They had no clue when he queried them, who is this? What is this? They're like, we don't know. Hold fire. Stand by. Wait.
You should have heard their breathing on the tapes. These guys are scared.
Okay, I've got some men on a road, and it looks like a piece of artillery firing at us.
Can you imagine feeling that your flight lead is going to be killed?
I am rolling in self-defense.
When you're being fired at, you have the right to self-defense.
Bombs away, cranking left.
If you hesitate, you're dead.
Shack.
You know, we soldiered on, we had a mission. We've fought next to them and worked closely with them for the remainder of the mission. I'm not going to comment on whether they violated their own rules of engagement or not. Those individuals have to live with their actions, and we'll see how it comes out in the wash. You're taking the lessons that you learned from this event, and you're trying to turn it into something tangible that's going to make something like this preventable later on. You've got to know your friends as much as you know your enemies.
Okay. Yeah, you guys take everything off for you, put it in the cases. You guys stay instrumented.
Just 18 months after the incident, Canadian soldiers from the very unit that was hit are in Fort Benning, Georgia, preparing for war games with their American allies.
Got a headshot there, huh?
Is there any discussion around what happened in Afghanistan with your troops and these guys and the Americans?
Not so much. There was more of that actually at the time.
Don't go there.
A new identification system is put to the test in a war game between the Americans and Canadians, the product of years of research and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Far right, to the right. There you go.
I've got a second squad is now moving up to the mile site.
Roger. We're currently moving up towards the village.
All right, just breach C2.
The soldiers are to storm a series of buildings and clear everyone out. What they don't know is that enemy soldiers, friendlies, and civilians hide and wait for them. If a soldier aims at a target and a light appears on his laser gun sight, it's a friendly carrying a special transponder. If no light appears, it may be the enemy. It takes up to a second for the light to appear, a lifetime in battle.
That's our guy. That's our guy. That's our guy.
How was it?
It was
Awesome.
good. I died though.
I lived.
How about you? I lived.
I died.
We killed 4 enemy and 1 friendly, unfortunately.
Even with the high-tech gear, in the end, it all comes down to human judgment.
Didn't look like this. Well, last time I saw it. I guess it's all been rebuilt.
It's all been rebuilt, yeah. All these streets had to be bulldozed in order for us to go through. The Germans put up a big fight, you could call it. Took a long time to take.
This is the exact intersection. Right around this area, Elliot, your regiment would have been positioned. And this whole area out this way at the time was open fields. That's where you had your guns would have been around here.
And where were the Germans?
The Germans were all down that way.
They were.
Okay, so we would have come in this way. The American, the bombers would have come in from the north toward the south.
Right.
I'm over talking to some boys from the 19th field, and they come from Lucknow, same hometown. We look up and here's a whole flight of planes coming.
Frank Farrell and the rest of his bomber group arrive over Caen to help their Canadian allies who are preparing for a massive attack against the Germans.
We looked up there and said, aren't they nice and shiny? Don't they really look good? And they said, yeah, B-17s. Thank God they're with us, see?
The instructions that I recall were that we were to bomb on a smoke shell. when we came over, the smoke had apparently been blown over your troops. When the signal to drop came, we dropped, got the hell out of there.
And out comes these bombs tumbling down. Fires were burning. Smoke. Casualties. Some body parts, you know. 11 killed and 18 wounded. And of course the wounded had to be looked after. The fires had to be put out, and it's quite a mess.
How windy was it that day?
It was pretty nice, I thought.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, the way the sun was shining, it might have been windy. Yeah.
Well.
But anyway, the matter, bit cross at the time, but time was on.
Yeah.
And in fact, the war was on anyway, and there was a lot of mistakes made.
It wasn't intentional, I know that.
No, I know that. I know that it was unintentional, of course, but that don't save anybody, that unintentional stuff. So what can you do?
Je voudrais accueillir nos amis canadiens qui nous font l'honneur d'être avec nous aujourd'hui en cette cérémonie du 11 novembre. Soyez les bienvenus, mesdames et messieurs les Canadiens. Sachez aussi que nous sommes tous conscients, nous avons tous dans notre cœur ce pays canadien. Ce sont vos soldats, vous-même peut-être, pour certains d'entre vous, qui ont libéré notre commune. Je suis très, très heureux de vous recevoir à Cornell. Très heureux.
Boss man.
Copy 5-1. Boss man, disengage. Friendly is Kandahar.
Shoot. Yeah, they were definitely shooting at you. I had a group of guys on a road around a gun, and it did not look organized like it would be our guys.
Following a military hearing, the manslaughter charges are dropped in the Afghanistan incident, but the pilots are still found partly at fault. Bill Umbach retires from the Air National Guard. Harry Schmidt refuses to accept any blame and fights his case in a court-martial. Both make formal apologies.
Could you tell us how you felt when you heard Major Umbach and Major Schmidt read their statements at the end of the hearing, ma'am?
Very emotional. It was very difficult. These are our sons we're talking about. And I have a hard time believing that these men know how we feel. This is not their sons, not their husbands that they killed. They're ours.
Major Umbach's wife told me today that she wants to meet with the Canadian families. Have you heard that, and are you prepared to meet with her?
No, I heard, but I don't want to.
Why not?
I'm too, now I'm hungry. I'm very hungry, and maybe I said something that will haunt me for the rest of my life. And I'm too hungry now.
They had to do their job. My husband was doing his job. Those boys were doing their job. It's life. One of the boys, or somebody came to me and said he had been blown to bits because he had gone to the aid of a man, one of his men, in the truck, and they both got it. Did you know that?
Yes. Yeah.
And they were both hit. But I never knew until 5 years ago that he'd been badly burnt.
Yeah.
And it says here, died of wounds resulting from American bombing. I've had a good life, and I've lived it to the fullest. But you wonder what could have been, what it could have been, what your life could have been.
This is a real picture that we kept as a real great souvenir, where Ainsworth and Mark are side by side in Bosnia.
Yeah.
They both had a mission. You can see they were very happy together, weren't they?
Look at his muscles, eh?
Yeah,
Oh.
big
Oh,
boys.
God.
To see the both our boys together is wonderful.
I know they're happy. They were friends and we are friends, you know.
I think that's great.
Yes.
It's just
I love this picture.
very much John.
I'm positive he's down this way. Am I wrong? Is he not here, along this road? I swear it was along here. Oh. I must have been dreaming. You think he's over there?
I looked on the map
Uh-huh.
in the book that we were just looking at,
Uh-huh.
and it has him over here.
So long, Tabby.
Do you want a picture taken?
I wouldn't mind. Can I take your picture there?
Okay.
Come over here, too.
I'll come here and stand. There. Good.
Yeah.
Okay?
This is a beautiful spot.
They're all like this. Wherever you go in these cemeteries, they're all the same. Even the Americans will be the same.
Yeah. Well, having met you, I'm glad I was here.
Yes, I'm glad you were here too.
Well, the least I could do. The least I could do.
I hope that was the right thing to do.
Me too.